All right, so we're going to take it all the way down to Florida. Okay, for a second, join us. Because Florida has now one of the most restrictive social media bans in the entire U.S. Governor Ron DeSantis, he signed a bill banning kids under 14 from having a social media account.
Oh, boo. Interesting.
Okay, that's not all. It doesn't stop there. If you are 15 or 16 years old and you want a social media account, you need mom or dad's consent to do so. Deepa, as the youngest person on the panel here today, is this too restrictive, or is this precisely what we need in the age of big tech?
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm gonna shock people with my answer. I actually am for it. I think it's a good idea.
Interesting.
Only because it's so addicting. Like, the amount of time people spend on their phones is incredibly insane. But also, like, I didn't have a phone until I was 18 years old. I wasn't on social media until I was 19 years old. And when I finally had the chance to have it, I became so addicted. I couldn't go a day without going on and seeing what people were saying and connecting with these people. But also, like, aside from the fact that it's so addicting, the mental health side of using social media at such a young age is so intense. Like, I remember going online and I'd post pictures and people would say really horrible things about me. And as a 19-year-old, I had a really hard time like processing that. So much less somebody who's younger, like 12, 13, who might not have the coping skills to get through something like that. So I don't actually think it's that bad of an idea.
Well, it's interesting, lawmakers at some point in time have sort of deemed that, you know, smoking and drinking, they're probably not great things for kids to be doing. And so they made laws for that.
Right.
And this feels like, it feels like an interesting experiment. You know, I don't think, I'm not saying kids don't smoke and drink anymore, but they certainly do it less.
But does this feel like he's pandering to his base? Because I feel like the people who like Ron DeSantis and his type of politics are gonna love this. It's kind of like, yeah, get rid of it. And the reality is, you know what? The minute you tell someone they can't have something, what do they want to do?
They're gonna want it.
They're gonna want it even more. And I think most kids, and I say this with grace because I know there are parents out there who are gonna argue it, but I think most kids are more tech savvy than their parents. And they're gonna figure out a way around it by changing their VPN location or lying about their age. It's very simple. But I think the problem is the cat is out of the bag, so to speak, with this situation. And to pull it back so severely is not gonna work. And what we should have done is looked at China and the way they handled it, because China has rules. They have social media for their kids, but they're strict.
They also have communism.
Right? I know, I know, but wait, before we knock their communism, listen to what they've done, because they are protecting their kids. Because for them, the rules are, it blocks non-adult children from accessing the internet from mobile devices between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. So you can't be on it all night. The regulations limit children between 16 and 18 to 2 hours of mobile use a day. So you can go on it, but there's a limit. You're not just looking at it all day. How do they enforce that, though? Listen, I don't know how they do it. I'm just telling you the rules, right? They also require platforms to offer lullabies for kids under 13 and educational news and entertainment for those under 12. So they're like, you can have it, but it's restricted and you only get to see these things, as opposed to the algorithm now is feeding your 12-year-old whatever. So I think that would be a more common sense way to approach it, because there's no way you're gonna tell these kids who are on their phones all the time, now you can't have it at all. They're gonna find a way.
I agree. I don't know how you do this, how you claw it back. I mean, I think it's a little late. Having said that, like you said, Jess, I think that putting speed bumps along the way can help. I think it's better than maybe doing nothing, because we know that young adults who use social media, they are 3 times more likely to suffer from depression.
Right.
That's just the beginning of the discussion, okay? That's just the beginning. My daughter just turned 10, and I am terrified for her. I'm terrified. If anybody knows therapist Esther Perel, she says wonderful things about, you know, how we're managing in this age of big tech. And she says, we're not in a crisis of artificial intelligence. We're in a crisis of artificial intimacy. What we're losing here is the idea that kids are not connecting in real life. You're here physically. But you're not here emotionally.
Right? Good question. Whose fault is that? Because I see a lot of 2-year-olds in strollers.
Sure. No,
phone in their
I'm not saying it's the kids' fault. Absolutely.
Tablet to keep them quiet.
I'm not saying the parents are off the hook.
Lots of moms looking at their phone while they push a stroller.
No, I'm not saying that that's not true. What I am saying is we are probably the last generation that was born in a time without internet. We're one of the last generations. We know what it's like to not have it. We were fully formed adults, most of us, when the internet hit, and we can manage. And I'll say, as a 46-year-old woman, some days I can't manage. So how do I expect a 16-year-old to manage? So I'm going to say this. These are famous last words. I'm going to try to hold off my daughter getting a phone and being on social media as long as possible. I don't know if it's possible.
But you're gonna try.
I'm gonna try.
That's all that matters. You try.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.